For joining us. I'd like to call the Planning and Development Committee meeting to order. Any late items for the agenda? Okay, we have an amendment on the agenda. The proponents that put forth the application for the ALC have pulled it. So I don't know if we want to talk about it just briefly later on, and also I want to just welcome Nicole and as our new development service manager, and appreciate you taking on the position. We all do, and we wish Scott all the best. Scott was, great to work with, and we wish him all the best. But thank you. And if you want to do a little introduction and
sure, yeah,
tell us a little bit about yourself.
That's okay. Yeah, so I grew up in the area. I went to school in Malaqua. I don't even think that's open anymore, is it?
It's open, but in a different way.
Yes. And then for high school, of course, came to Sycamoose, graduated. I worked at Subway as a manager for a few years and then decided to go to university in Kamloops. So spent quite a few years fumbling my way through university, but managed to get my geography degree. Yeah, I love geography.
Geography.
And then I also did a minor in geology and archaeology.
Minor in geology.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like,
It's quite a popular.
I'm gonna start taking up.
Order.
Yeah. Loved archaeology, so I did quite a few excavations in Lillooet and Kamloops, down to Belize. That's why it took me so long to figure out what I was doing with my life. And then after graduation, I got a job with the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure in Kamloops, and I worked in development services. And then I advanced my career in Fort St. John as a senior development officer, and then continued into a provincial approving officer for about 10 years up north, working on a ton of developments, lots of oil and gas related, but definitely like Canadian Tires, Walmart's, large phased housing developments. Working with the regional district on subdivision and servicing bylaws, OCPs, zonings, and just a ton of mentorship in my role. People were shipped up from the south to Fort St. John. I would train them and then give them the lowdown on like approvals, permitting, and subdivision, and then they go back down and do their work. And then most recently here.
Oh,
yeah,
it's wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah, I know. I'm really excited to come back into development services. I think it's awesome. Hopefully, yeah, I want to bring a customer service focused planning department. That would be great.
Good. Well, that's good. Well, thank you very much for taking the position, and
yeah,
we're excited to work with you, and everything will go well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, moving right along, approval of the agenda. Recommended the Planning Development Committee meeting agenda for August 16th be approved as circulated. We have a mover, Deb, seconder, Ian. All in favor? Carried. Okay, adoption of the minutes. Everybody had a chance to read the last minutes? Yeah.
You bet.
Okay, recommended that the minutes of the Planning Development Committee meeting held on July 19th, 2023 be adopted. Can I have a mover? Ian, seconder, Deb. Great, thank you. All right, development service update. Who's going to take this one?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, thanks.
I'm only 3 days in, but so I have to familiarize myself with a few of these applications. Because I think we just want to take a stab at some of the older ones and find out where they actually are and like whose hands it's sitting in. We have a couple new applications that I don't think any of us have had a look at yet. So I'm going to take a stab at those with Steffi and Sarah. I've updated a couple of them just to 100 Archibald and 918 Riverside, just to, what we're actually waiting for is the section 11 approvals. So that might take a little bit outside of our hands. Yeah, and then I think we were having a little discussion about how to present current applications, maybe having a status and some dates tied to it. Just focusing on where it's sitting in our hands versus another agency's hands or in the applicant's hands, just deciding what they still want to do. Any questions on the current applications?
Go ahead there, Deb.
Yeah, just so with 102 Martin, I have seen some activity there. They've taken out that little house and they've cleared it and that. So in terms of a little bit more on the status of that one.
Yeah, so there's 3 of them and that's one of them that I'm gonna make a phone call to the applicant and I
Okay.
have to find out what's happening. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So maybe for next round.
And further to that, we did issue them a demo permit.
Yeah.
We did get a demo permit for the demolition, but in terms of this application.
Yeah.
That's more.
Yeah, I just thought maybe with, the demolition, there was more information, but no, all good.
Go ahead there, Ian.
And the 113, that's the micro suites, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So actually, they had to go through a contaminated site? They did, eh? Okay.
Yeah, you had a houseboat operation there for quite a while.
Oh, all right. And do we know? And maybe we don't, because this is at a provincial level, like how long these processes take at this point? Like, do they give us some indication, or it all depends on the site and it's a whole bunch of different factors, so there isn't really a timeline?
So they did implement a new process for this. And so I think some of the timelines that we're seeing is more a learning curve in terms of how that works. But it is a lot faster, but it does rely a lot on the proponent and their professional to keep this moving forward. So like, we're not really involved, really.
So it's variable.
It is variable, and I think it depends on what the findings are too, but it sounds to me like they're working with an engineer that knows what they're doing. That it should be moving along fairly quickly. We did hear from them last week, the engineer, so like, yeah, they're on it.
So it's clicking along.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. And
Okay,
maybe just, what is I probably should know this, but it escapes me right now. What's a section 11?
That's dock, right?
Yeah, it works in and about a stream.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's riparian area issues or
no.
no?
In the
sir, go ahead.
Oh, in the water. Okay, all right. Okay.
Okay, Sarah, you good?
Nicole wants me to add.
No, go for it.
Sure. So section 11 is basically if you're digging around in the lake bed, right?
Okay.
Anywhere below the high water mark. So right now the lake bed's really low. So areas where you would see these things going in would be exposed this time, but they still have to go through this process. And so typically we're talking about new piers that need replacing. And then they run into our position.
Right.
So that's where that's at. So do you have any specific questions about the one on Archibald that needs section 11 or the one on Riverside that needs section 11? I can expand on that if you're interested. Otherwise, it will be coming later once.
Well, the one on Riverside, 918.
It's Papa's, isn't it?
That's what I was gonna ask you, yeah, because we went out and we met with them, so, okay, so he's put in an application.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's just a bit early. So I did contact their, so Michelle Hill from Hill Environmental is who they're working with. And they're just like way far ahead and they understand. I've talked with them too, and they're happy with the way things are moving along. We're just waiting for Michelle's information for us to move our portion forward.
okay,
But they will need a variance because they do butt right up against the edge of their tenure, which is shared, like it's shared with a neighboring tenure. So they would need a variance for that. And they just really need to replace the walkway
Mhm.
out to the marina. The marina part itself with the fingers is a good tradition, but the walkway is replaced.
So the difference between, because it's below the high water mark, they have to go through the province and follow the Water Sustainability Act, which requires a section 11. And now if it's above the high water mark, it requires, it follows the riparian areas regulation and would require a provincial assessment through the DEP, right? So they still both have provincial arms, but they follow different regulations and they're different wings.
and
One's in the water, one's out of the water.
I think correct me if I'm wrong, redoing he's renegotiating his foreshore as well. Or,
I don't know.
I can't remember if he said that.
His tenure is still in good standing. It's not expired.
Okay, yeah,
So he's working that. It's literally some significant, like he's replaced that whole walkway.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Can I just ask, did we ever solve that problem with the Neil Werther's over in Silver Sands? That's a stop work order. He was putting a deck in. I haven't heard anything for quite a while. Is it one of these ones? I can't remember. It was. Go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, I can answer. So that's a building permit, so it wouldn't be on here because these are development permits. So the last last I heard from Neil is that they were changing contractors. So
Okay.
we were waiting for a revised drawings that worked.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious because I haven't heard anything for a long time. So I thought maybe
Yeah, I think they also then are now waiting for a contractor. I'm not quite sure. I can follow up with the building inspector, but we followed up with them multiple times and made it very clear what we were still waiting on.
I know you guys did.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, Deb?
Just a general question. Are we finding that things are slowing down on the business licensing for the Airbnb, like those requests? And whatever, if it's in the tree streets, then getting their temporary use permit or whatever.
Sarah, you got any insight on that one?
I can definitely answer for sure. Can you just, I'm sorry, I was making a note.
That's all right.
Say that.
Yeah, sorry. It's just, I'm wondering if things are slowing down on the Airbnb requests, like for business licenses, temporary use permits and the tree streets and that. It's just, we haven't heard for a little bit, although we haven't met for a little bit either, so.
Through the chair. So yes, we're still getting the odd short-term rental business license application coming in, but in places where it's permitted. And
okay.
generally those are being issued still, so legacy is still kind of on pause while the strata sorts their things out. So we do have a stack of applications for the legacy. That we're just hanging on to, and they're mostly they're ready to go. They just need the strata consent form for us to issue. And then otherwise, in terms of temporary use permits, things that are happening in areas where it's not permitted, we'll probably see a renewed flurry. What I understand is that council wanted to wait until next year to actually start, contacting these folks and seeing if they want to pursue a temporary use permit or not.
Okay,
So it'd probably be next year that we would see that start happening.
oh, go ahead, Kelly.
And no one further to that, I think we'll have a little regroup on the short-term rentals and the regulations and ensuring that we put out some communication this fall about that we're going to start we've kind of this first year, we've allowed everybody, voluntary compliance. We're not penalizing anybody at all, but we'll start actively looking for people and enforcing penalties in the new year if they don't have a business license. So that will be an issue in 2024. So I think we need to put together and make sure we have our bylaws locked and loaded in terms of how we're going to enforce it and what those penalties are, and then communicate it out to the public. So that will be coming forward in the next couple months.
I think that's a great idea, Kelly. Just because people, they throw it on the Facebook marketplace, or they throw it wherever, and then they book it all season or for the next summer, and then they realize, well, maybe I might not be able to get a permit, or I haven't checked with my neighbors, or so it'd be good to reach out before the booking season starts, kind of.
Yeah, like October, November, do a kind of a mail out saying, hey, in the new year,
Yeah.
this is what you're going to be facing.
Okay, great.
I'll add, it will be a good follow-up to the one that we sent out early this year. We did a mail out early this year as well, just saying, hey, these regulations now apply, get ready for the season and apply for your business license. It was just like really soft. It was more for information kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. Yep, got another one?
I figured since that one's getting pulled, we might as well talk a bit, right? I actually, I stopped by Paradise yesterday to just look at things with Rakesh, because, he's been a great Communities in Bloom partner in terms of talking to us and trying to do those sorts of things. So what he's doing over there is fabulous. So I guess I have a question that it's not on here, but when we had done his temporary use permit, I understood there wasn't a seasonal restriction, but it sounds like there is. Like that he's only approved for the RV sites.
Yeah,
During the winter, during the summer months.
yeah, during the summer months.
Okay, just,
Okay,
I mean, like,
go ahead.
yeah, my recollection, correct me if I'm wrong, when we did the TP. Was that it was for summer months only because it's not really designed to be a year round, accommodating area. But I think it's more like spring to fall. And there was, I think it went to I mean, we could take a look at it, but I think it was the end of October or something along those lines.
yeah.
April 1st to the end of October is what I'm kind of thinking at this point, but just excluding the winter months only just because it's not really set up for that.
So when you say not set up for that, what would constitute set up for that? The services would have to be deep enough and.
Deep services, probably.
There's no sewage there.
Okay. I thought they were set up for that.
No,
There,
just water and electricity.
Oh, okay,
we didn't put in,
okay.
Because that would have been a really big.
Big cost.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. And so he's just pump and dump.
It's meant not to be long-term,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That you
yeah.
go in, you stay for a few nights, like a normal kind of RV park. And then you would go and there is no septic.
Yeah.
There is no sewage.
Yeah.
okay, interesting. I didn't know that.
It makes sense now that we've mentioned it, though. It's just then, But there's no reason it couldn't be longer term as long as, you're gonna have to drive out and go to a sandy station every so often.
Yeah, and I think that's like when we passed TP, it was in there that said it was not for long-term stay.
Yeah.
It's more like a nightly thing.
May through September.
Okay,
May through the September?
September.
Interesting. Okay,
And it's for temporary accommodation.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading that. I think I was on vacation at the time, so I don't know, it's stuck in my head.
okay, good. Anything else? Anybody else have anything else? We move on? Okay, well, new business, ALC application at 515 Dogwood has been pulled. But did anybody want to, do you want to give us a little update on that, Nicole? Just what the issue was or what the owners are concerned about?
Yeah, Stevie had a presentation. I don't know if it's worth going through it because they have pulled it, but I plan to call them later today just to find out. I think what they had said in an email was that they had read what would be required and felt like pulling out.
Okay. Okay,
We'll find out more.
There's two owners.
well, I think it's for more for services in the road. I think the one lot would be, you'd have to have a shared road, I imagine. It would have to be a shared road.
So within the OCP connectivity map, there's an extension from, it shows extension of Holly Avenue from the end of Cottonwood all the way to McLean McPherson.
Yeah,
So part of that Holly Avenue is dedicated. The other part is protected through covenant for 515 Holly. So they might need additional dedication to the
Okay.
north of that proposed lot B. I think I can show you. So for this lot, they might need additional dedication.
okay, understandable.
Previously, there was an ALC application. Initially, when this lot was just like a rectangular one, and that was like 2005, to take this property out of ALR and then to subdivide. So the ALC decision was like, they supported the taking out of ALR for this property because it's not good for agriculture. But then this one, they did not allow subdividing it because it's good agricultural land. So we communicated to the applicants that in order to make this application a little bit more stronger, it would be nice to show a guarantee that they're gonna have a residential, but then also support agricultural in the proposed two lots. So 3 of the tools was like, one is having either a restrictive covenant on title showing that where the location of the residence would be, where the farming area would be, or having a housing agreement either through ALC and or the district, restricting the sale of the property to young farmers. That. So that would basically make the case strong for ALC, but I think it's, I don't know, a try to see what the ALC would think.
Okay. Very good. Pam, you can. I'm chairing the meeting.
I'm just curious, what the definition of farming would be? Is that like if they had put a residence on there and they wanted to have some chickens and, you know, like, would that be considered being that farming to meet those requirements?
So this land is still in the ALR. So the ALR, the primary focus is farming, yes,
Yeah,
as long as
so
they can
they have-
prove that, like, sometimes, you know, we say things, but then what's the guarantee that that's gonna be used as farm? Right? What if, you know, someone
Yeah.
buys a as, I don't know, like a vacation property or something, I don't know, ALC, it's always good to give them a guarantee that, hey, we're gonna do this, we have this, so.
Wondered how simple that farming piece could be.
Yeah,
People putting it on, it's like,
so they're proposing that they want to do market gardens, fruit trees and bushes and small scale poultry production. And then if you look at the plan, you see the single family dwelling, garage and everything, but you don't see like farm area, like where that's going to be located or any more detail on that. Yeah, and the district has certain policies, like in the OCP, on what is supported within rural area, land use designation and rural side of the growth management boundary. Specifically, yeah, it talks about development, attracts young farmers, supports residential use with agricultural use with it, and then on-site servicing. So when it comes to on-site servicing, you need to have minimum parcel size, so that doesn't meet. The two proposed laws doesn't meet that, so they need to be connected to municipal water and sewer. So that's another side of it. And then access side of it. And then, yeah, a small portion of the property is within the wildfire hazard, and the rest is within 2 kilometer buffer area. And that would trigger the requirement to have a restrictive covenant on title, just telling the applicants how to manage the property with respect to fire smart principles and things like that. So.
Okay, thanks, Steffi, for that presentation. That's good. Ian?
So there's just, I guess in general, a lot going on that site.
Yes, a lot of covenants.
A lot of different
Yeah, there's a lot of statutes.
considerations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Deb?
Yeah, sorry, I just heard back from John. He thought it was next week, so he sends his regrets. He's in an area that doesn't have good service, so.
Okay. Yeah, no, it'd be great if we could get these, approved. I mean, it would be 2 more residents to the community. So yeah, hopefully the proponent brings it back to the table and we can help them see if we can get this going, for sure.
If they want to take this application, then as part of the ALC application, a resolution would be required from the council. So, yeah, if we're moving ahead, then next council meeting, staff.
Okay, good. Anybody else, Ian?
Not really on this, but since Steffi's here, she'd probably know the answer to this. So we're currently doing Capel Street. Can you remind me what we did for the active transportation plan on Capel? I thought it was, it's a walk and shared bike lane, right?
Use pathway.
Use, okay. All right.
Yeah, it was a multi-use pathway.
Yeah, I did. Someone just asked me that question the other day and I was like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be for bike and walking. Okay, all right. Thanks.
All right, since we have a little bit of time, anybody else, anything else? Go ahead there, Ryan.
I had a friend of mine show me a picture. Over here by. That creek that comes out there,
Gillis Creek?
and it showed like a green line, he said it doesn't dissipate. He's trying to get the fisheries out there to see what's going on. And he hasn't been able to, I mean, that's fairly close to water intake. Wondering if anybody here or anything, or speaking.
Green line under the water, like a what?
Like you can see a distinct flow. Kind of,
Nuclear.
at least in the picture, it looked kind of greenish compared to the rest of the water on the side. And he said it doesn't dissipate, it stays there, it just kind of flows out.
I've looked at that green line for years, and if you, in the springtime especially, you can hear the water coming off Bayview. And there was a pond up there next to our house, and it would run year round. And it was, you know, fairly active. It would run year round. And when they blasted and put all their roads in, that pond disappeared. But if you, the further closer you get to the lake, the more you hear it in the springtime rushing, and it comes down the ditches, and somehow it goes under that development. Somehow it goes between those two developments.
This looks like it's right out of that creek, wherever it is. No, that's.
Gillis Creek,
The RV park.
Gillis Creek?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't know. We could look into it.
I don't know, I thought this.
Okay. Thanks, Brian. All righty. Everything else good? Okay, well, we'll make a motion. Anybody make a motion to adjourn this meeting? Yeah, second.
I guess I have to.
Favor? Carried. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, but it was good. You know what? It was just a comment. It was nice to be able to catch up on the applications a bit more, not feeling pressured that we could just kind of chat about